Hi, I'm Kat and today I have for you a true crime case, a word in Romanian, and I will also be doing my makeup at the same time. So the word for today is poliție. 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 Well done guys, you just said police. And I just realized I put my headband the other way around. Okay, hold on a second. Today's case took place around 10 years ago when Amanda finally managed to escape the House of Horrors in 2013 when her kidnapper forgot to lock her bedroom door. Amanda's daughter, who was only 6 years old at the time, was keeping an eye out for the kidnapper. And with no sign of him, Amanda ran to a neighbor's house begging them to call 911. Police arrived very shortly, managing to free Michelle and Gina as well. During the time that they were held captive, Amanda was raped, starved, tortured and gave birth to her daughter Jocelyn. So the question is, what on earth happened? 32-year-old Michelle Knight, who was born on 23rd of April 1981, was the first to be kidnapped. She was in a store asking for directions when she was approached by Ariel Castro, who offered to give her a ride. She disappeared on 23rd of August 2002 after leaving a cousin's house. She was 21 years old at the time. On the day of her disappearance, she was actually scheduled to appear in court for a child custody case involving her son Joey, who was in the custody of the state. Michelle actually accepted the ride because she knew Ariel's daughter, so he drove her to his house and invited her to go inside and pick out a puppy for her son. That's when Ariel restrained Michelle with an extension cord, dragged her to the basement, restrained her with chains, jammed the motorcycle helmet on her head and raped her for the first of very many times. 8 months later, Ariel targeted 16-year-old Amanda Berry by offering her a ride home from her job at Burger King. Amanda Marie Berry, who was born on April 22nd, 1986, disappeared on 21st of April 2003, the day before her 17th birthday. She was last heard from at around 8 p.m. when she called her sister to tell her that she was getting a ride home from her job at Burger King at the corner of Lorraine Avenue and West 110th Street. The FBI initially believed that she was a runaway until 1 week after she went missing, when an unidentified male used her phone to call her mother. This male said, "I have Amanda, she's fine and will be coming home in a couple of days." Amanda was actually featured in a 2004 segment of Fox's America's Most Wanted, re-aired in 2005 and 2006, which linked her to Gina De Jesus, who by that point had also gone missing in Cleveland. They were both profiled on the Oprah Winfrey Show and the Montel Williams Show, where self-proclaimed psychic Sylvia Brown told Amanda's mother, Luana Miller, in November 2004 that her daughter was dead and that she was in water. This completely devastated her mother, causing her to take down pictures of Amanda and give away Amanda's computer. But she continued to search for Amanda before dying from heart failure in early March 2006. Later that year, on December 25th, 2006, Amanda Berry gave birth to a daughter. DNA evidence later on confirmed that Ariel Castro was the father of the child. Robert Walford was a prison inmate who had lived in Tremont, and he claimed in July 2012 that he had information about the location of Amanda Berry's body. He led police to an empty lot on Cleveland's west side where the police conducted a search, but they got no results from it. So in the end, he was sentenced in January 2013 to 4.5 years in prison for obstruction of justice, making a false report and making a false alarm. Amanda actually knew Ariel's son and daughter, so Ariel took her as well to his house so that she could talk to his daughter. But very quickly Amanda was tied with duct tape, put in a motorcycle helmet and chained to a pole in the basement. Ariel's third victim, 23-year-old Gina De Jesus, was friends with his daughter. Again, it was the same story. She got into his car and he asked her to go in the house to help him carry a speaker to his car. At one point, Gina became uncomfortable because, the house was quite dark and it was very strange, so she tried to escape, but sadly, as she was trying to escape, she ran into a closet and she was captured. Georgina Lynn De Jesus, born on February 13, 1990, she went missing on April 2nd, 2004, when she was only 14 years old. She was last seen at a payphone around 3 p.m. while on the way home from her middle school at West 105th Street and Lorraine Avenue. At the time, she was friends with Ariel's daughter Arlene. Shortly before Gina disappeared, she and Arlene called Arlene's mother, Grimilda Figueroa, for permission to have a sleepover at Gina's house. But Grimilda didn't approve, so the girls went their separate ways. Arlene was the last person to see Gina before her disappearance. Gina was under the impression that Ariel was picking her up to drop her off at home, and she trusted him because she was friends with his teenage daughter. No one witnessed the abduction and an Amber Alert was not issued, which made Gina's father really angry, and rightly so. He eventually said in 2006, quote, "The Amber Alert should work for any missing child. Whether it's an abduction or a runaway, a child needs to be found. We need to change this law," end of quote. 1 year after Gina went missing, the FBI released a composite sketch and a description of a male suspect described as Latino, 25 to 35 years of age, 5 feet 10 inches tall or 1.78 meters tall, 165 to 185 pounds or 75 to 84 kilograms, with green eyes, a goatee and possibly a pencil-thin beard. According to court records, Ariel Castro was 5 feet 7 inches, 179 pounds, with brown eyes and a goatee. Gina was featured in the America's Most Wanted segment, which linked her to Amanda Berry. The disappearances received regular media attention into 2012, and the families held public vigils. Ariel actually attended at least 2 of these vigils, allegedly even participating in a search party. He also tried to get close to the De Jesus family. Ariel Castro's son, Anthony, was a journalism student in 2004, and he interviewed Gina's mother for an article about the disappearances in the Plain Press newspaper. Police kept the investigation open and they offered a $25,000 reward for information. According to Ariel Castro's uncle, his family knew the De Jesus family and had lived in the same neighborhood. Ariel later falsely claimed that he was not aware that Gina was a member of that family when he abducted her. The home at 227 Seymour Avenue, Cleveland was wired with alarm clocks constructed in a way to create an alarm system to the house. The victims were kept in 2 rooms behind a door that could be secured from the outside with a lock, with a circular hole cut towards the bottom of the door. This hole was the source of ventilation. The windows were boarded up with very heavy closet doors. Amanda shared 1 room with her then 6-year-old daughter. Amanda actually got pregnant by Ariel whilst she was being held captive. Jocelyn was born on 25th of December 2006 and she was born in captivity. Gina and Michelle shared an attached, smaller room where a chain was also kept to restrain them. They were all restrained by chains attached to their ankles, having access only to plastic toilets in the bedrooms, which were very rarely emptied. Ariel gave them 1 meal a day and used the cold of the basement and the heat of the attic as punishment techniques. Whilst being held in captivity, all 3 women kept diaries throughout. Some of the entries mention forced sexual conduct, being locked in a dark room, being chained to a wall, being held like a prisoner of war, and dreams of someday escaping and being reunited with their families. The victims were discovered in Ariel's home in May 2013. They were abducted between 2002 and 2004 when they were in their teens or early 20s, within a few blocks of each other. According to police sources, the victims had multiple pregnancies while kept in the house. At least 5 babies are believed to have been born. One of the victims suffered up to 3 miscarriages. After she was kidnapped, Ariel took Michelle to the upper floor of his house. He tied her hands and feet together and pulled her up using her hands, feet and neck. He left her there for 3 days without any food. I think that this was a game for him to condition them into obeying and into listening to him. And I think that that was the purpose with the helmets as well. But I also think that played a sexual fantasy as well, the motorcycle helmets. When I was doing my research, I was trying to figure out why would he use motorcycle helmets, but I kind of think that perhaps as part of conditioning the victims to listen to him and not to try and escape, and possibly for a sexual reason as well. Michelle told police that Ariel got her pregnant at least 5 times and induced miscarriages each time through beatings, hitting her with dumbbells, punching her and slamming her against walls. He also stabbed her. Michelle's grandmother told reporters later on that she would require facial reconstruction surgery because of the beatings, and she had also lost hearing in one ear. At one point, Michelle had a pet dog while in captivity, and trigger warning, animal abuse. But Ariel killed the dog by snapping its neck after he beat him while trying to protect her. Gina told the law enforcement that she was raped, but she didn't believe that she was ever pregnant. On Christmas Day 2006, Ariel ordered Michelle to assist in the birth of Amanda's child, which took place in a small inflatable swimming pool, and threatened to kill her if the baby didn't survive. At one point, the baby stopped breathing, but luckily Michelle was able to resuscitate her. Ariel would occasionally take Amanda's daughter out of the house, including to visit his mother. The girl called him daddy and his mother grandmother. In 2013, he showed one of his adult daughters a picture of her and said that she was his girlfriend's daughter from a previous relationship. He told others that she was his granddaughter. Amanda was the one who taught her daughter how to read and how to write. According to a statement from the CDP, police officers actually visited Ariel's home only once after the kidnappings to talk about an unrelated incident. Ariel didn't seem to be home at the time, and he was later interviewed elsewhere. Neighbors claimed that they called the police about suspicious activity seen at the home, but police said that they have no record of any calls like that. Ariel's son, Anthony, reported that there were certain areas of the house which were locked and just inaccessible. He also mentioned that one time, 3 weeks before the victims escaped, Ariel asked him if Amanda would ever be found. Anthony told him that Amanda was probably dead, to which Ariel responded, "Really? You think so?" NBC affiliate WKYC reported that Ariel remembered each of the abductions in great detail during his interrogation and indicated that they were unplanned crimes of opportunity. According to WKYC's sources, Ariel didn't have an exit plan and he believed that he would eventually be caught. He referred to himself as cold-blooded and a sex addict. Police found a suicide note in the house in which he talked about the abductions, and he wrote that his money and possessions should be given to the kidnapped women if he was caught. Ariel Castro, 52 years old when he was arrested, made a mistake which led to the victims being rescued. On 7th of May 2013, Amanda finally built up the courage to escape after Ariel left the bedroom door open just enough for her to shout for help. She screamed and waved through the crack in the front door until one of the neighbors heard the screams. According to police, Ariel left the house that day and Amanda realized that he didn't lock the big inside door even though the exterior storm door was bolted. She didn't try to break through the outer door because she believed that Ariel was actually testing her. Previously, he tested the women by leaving the house partially unlocked and the exits unsecured. If they tried to escape, he beat them. So instead, Amanda screamed for help when she saw neighbors through the screen. Neighbor Angel Cordero responded to the screaming, but he was unable to speak with Amanda because he spoke little English. So neighbor Charles Ramsey joined Angel at the house's front door during the rescue. They kicked a hole through the bottom of the storm door and Amanda crawled through carrying her daughter. Amanda told Charles that she and her child were being kept inside the house against their will. After they escaped, Amanda went to the house of another Spanish-speaking neighbor and, with Charles's help, she called 911 saying, "Help me, I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years and I'm here, I'm free now."
Okay, May 6th, 2013 was also the day Cleveland and the world were introduced to a man they would never forget. The neighbor who helped rescue them, Charles Ramsey.
Cannot forget this interview. It was a live interview with our own John Kosick during that coverage that night that we had here on News 5, and that interview would soon be seen all over the world. And 10 years later, John takes a look back.
Hey, Charles, let me talk to you. I'm talking with Charles Ramsey. He's a neighbor. Walk me through again what happened this afternoon. You heard screaming.
Heard screaming. I'm eating my McDonald's.
With those words aired live on News 5 as the events of May 6 were unfolding on Seymour Avenue, Charles Ramsey, the unemployed dishwasher who helped rescue Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight just moments before, was introduced to Northeast Ohio and soon the world, forever to be associated with two words.
Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
Charles didn't know it, but he was about to go viral. His version of the events and the role he played in them.
I'm like, I'm calling the 911 for Amanda Berry. I thought this girl was dead.
Were about to be seen worldwide, and he was about to become an overnight celebrity.
There aren't too many people who could turn an interview about a kidnapping into an evening at the Apollo, but he pulled it off.
The 2-minute, 56-second long interview has literally hundreds of millions of views, spawned an auto-tuned Dead Giveaway, which in turn was the inspiration for the Netflix series Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Over the years, Charles and I reflected on it.
Do you ever go back and watch the interview?
Of me and you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I look back at it and I say, John ain't have a clue where I was going with this. Yeah, I just opened a can of worms and just let it fly, bro.
Because after you said,
Bro, I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms. Something is wrong here. Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway. And I looked at your face, and it looked, and I was like, he about to take the microphone away from me.
I was trying to.
I was like, how dare him mess my moment up right there. They gonna love this. Give me that microphone, John. Either she homeless or she got problems. That's the only reason why she run to a black man.
Charles, thank you for being there, man. I've fielded a lot of questions about Charles over the years. Believe it or not, number one, does he still get free McDonald's? He told me 5 years ago, no. The offer came in the form of gift cards, and it lasted only a short while.
They gave me those 20 cards. I gave them to every homeless person I could find. They got wind of that. I can't get no more free McDonald's now.
Charles and I still keep in touch, but this interview in 2018 was the last time we talked on camera. As his 10-year mark approached, he didn't want any extra attention, echoing what he told me 8 years ago about reaching a point one day when it would be time to move on.
I understand that you want to keep bringing it up because it's a touchy subject and it's an enlightening subject, it's a beautiful ending. But I don't want these girls' life to keep being a flashback of that horrific stuff that was happening the rest of their life. So I'm with it, but them girls need space and freedom and privacy.
In Cleveland, John Kosick, News 5. Charles, let me talk to you. I'm talking with Charles Ramsey. He's a neighbor. Walk me through again what happened this afternoon. You heard screaming.
Heard screaming. I'm eating my McDonald's. I come outside, I see this girl going nuts, trying to get out of her house. So I go on the porch.
Okay.
I go on the porch, and she says, "Help me get out. I've been in here a long time." So, you know, I figured it's a domestic violence dispute. So I open the door, and we can't get in that way because how the door is, it's so much that a body can't fit through, only your hand. So we kick the bottom, and she comes out with the little girl, and she says, "Call 911. My name is Amanda Berry."
Now, did you know who that was when she said that?
When she told me, it didn't register until I got the call in 911, and I'm like, I'm calling the 911 for Amanda Berry? I thought this girl was dead. You know what I mean? And she got on the phone and she said, "Yes, this is me." And the detective, Cook, right here, Detective Gregory Cook says, "Charles, do you know who you rescued?" I said.
Now, and when did you see Gina?
About 5.
We're good. So
about 5 minutes after the police got here. See, that girl Amanda told the police, "I ain't just the only ones. It's some more girls up in that house." So they went up there, you know, 30, 40 deep, and when they came out was just astonishing because I thought they were gonna come up with nothing. I figured, I mean, whoever she was, and like I say, my neighbor, you got some big testicles to pull this off, bro, because we see this dude every day. I mean, every day.
How long have you lived here?
I've been here a year.
Okay.
You see where I'm coming from?
Right.
I barbecue with this dude. We eat ribs and whatnot and listen to salsa music. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah. And you had no indication that there was anything going on?
Bro, not a clue that girl was in that house or anybody else was in there against their will. Because how he is he just comes out to his backyard, plays with the dogs, tinker with his cars and motorcycles, goes back in the house. So he's somebody that you look away because he's not doing nothing but the average stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's nothing exciting about him. Well, until the day.
What was the reaction on the girls' faces? I can't imagine to see the sunlight, to be around people.
I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms. Something is wrong here. Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
Thank you very much for your time. And
either she homeless or she got problems. That's the only reason why she run to a black man.
Charles, thank you for being there, man. Charles Ramsey, neighbor, heard the screaming, took action, went and did what he needed to do. The rest is unfolding before us here on Seymour. I'm going to send it back to you.
Every day. They've never seen nobody in that house, bro. There's a God, bro. See, you ain't have faith. That's what it is. You lost faith. Now it's restored.
The responding police officers, Anthony Espada, Michael Tracy, and Barbara Johnson, went into Ariel's house. They walked through an upstairs hallway with their guns drawn, announcing themselves as SCVP, or the Cleveland Police Department. After looking out from a slightly open bedroom door, Michelle Knight entered the hallway and jumped into an officer's arms, repeatedly saying, "You saved me." Soon after, Gina entered the hallway from another room. They were both walked out of the house, and all three women and the child were taken to Metro Health Medical Center. Amanda and Gina were released from the hospital the next day, and Michelle was discharged 4 days later on May the 10th. After their rescue, they were found to suffer of severe dehydration and they were slightly malnourished. Charles, the neighbor, he said that he knew that something was not right with the whole situation when a little white girl ran into the arms of a black man. Amanda was actually being praised by police as a real hero for managing to save herself, her daughter, and the others. Charles said that there were absolutely no signs that the girls were in that house. Police arrested Ariel Castro just a few hours later. He was arrested in a McDonald's parking lot and he was charged with 4 counts of kidnapping and 3 counts of rape on May the 8th, which carry prison sentences of 10 years to life in Ohio. 2 of Ariel's brothers, Pedro and O'Neill, were also initially taken into custody, but they were released on May the 9th after police announced that they had no involvement in the kidnappings. The charges against the 2 of them were then dropped. Ariel Castro made his first court appearance at the Cleveland Municipal Court on May the 9th, where bail was set at $2 million per kidnapping charge, adding to a total of $8 million. Prosecutors wanted to seek the death penalty. Additional charges were reported to be pending, including aggravated murder for intentional induction of miscarriages, attempted murder, assault, a charge for each instance of rape, and a kidnapping charge for each day each captive was held. On May 14th, Ariel's attorneys said that he would plead not guilty to all charges if indicted for kidnapping and rape. A Cuyahoga County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment against him on June the 7th. He had 329 counts, including 2 counts of aggravated murder for his role in the termination of one of the women's pregnancies. The indictment covered only the period from August 2002 to February 2007. The county prosecutor, Timothy J. McGinty, stated that the investigation was ongoing and that any further findings would be presented to the grand jury. He said that pursuing a death penalty specification would be considered following completion of indictment proceedings. After entering a not guilty plea on June 12, one of Ariel's attorneys, Craig Weintraub, said that even though some of the charges were indisputable, it was their hope that they could continue to work toward a resolution to avoid having an unnecessary trial about aggravated murder and the death penalty. Ariel Castro was found competent to stand trial on 3rd of July. On July the 12th, the grand jury returned a true bill of indictment for the remainder of the period after February 2007. It brought the total to 977 counts, 512 counts of kidnapping, 446 of rape, 7 of gross sexual imposition, 6 of felonious assault, 3 of child endangerment, 2 of aggravated murder, and 1 of possession of criminal tools. On July 17th, Ariel Castro pleaded not guilty to the expanded indictment. He faced death by lethal injection if convicted on all of the charges. Eventually, Ariel pleaded guilty on July 26 to 937 of the 977 charges against him, including charges of kidnapping, rape, and aggravated murder as part of a plea bargain which called for consecutive sentences of life in prison plus 1,000 years, all without parole. Under the plea deal, Ariel Castro forfeited his right to appeal, and he couldn't profit in any way from his crimes. He also forfeited his assets, including his Seymour Avenue house, which prosecutors said would be demolished. It seems that Ariel Castro had such an emotional attachment to the home that prosecutors said he broke down in tears when he had to sign over the property deed, saying it was wrong to tear it down because he had so many happy memories there. Ariel was told by Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court Judge Michael Russo, "You will not be getting out, is that clear?" To which Ariel Castro responded, "I do understand that, Your Honor." He also made comments about his addiction to pornography and sexual problem, but he was actually cut off by Judge Russo, who said that such issues could be discussed at the August the 1st sentencing hearing. A law firm representing Amanda Berry, Georgina De Jesus, and Michelle Knight released a statement that the 3 women were relieved by the plea and they were looking forward to having these legal proceedings draw to a final close in the near future. At the sentencing hearing on August the 1st, Ariel Castro was sentenced to consecutive life terms in prison plus 1,000 years, all without any possibility of parole. He was also fined $100,000. The court forfeited all of his properties and assets to the Cuyahoga County government. The plea deal that he was offered spared Ariel the death penalty because he was accused of the aggravated murder of a fetus after forcibly causing an abortion in one of his victims that he was accused of impregnating. The deal also spared the 3 women from having to testify at the trial. Before his sentencing, Ariel Castro addressed the court for almost 20 minutes, in which he said that he was a good person and he wasn't a monster, but he was addicted to sex and pornography and masturbated from a young age. He claimed that he had never beaten or tortured the victims and insisted that most of the sex he had with them was consensual. He shifted between apologizing and blaming the FBI for not catching him, but also blaming the victims themselves for getting in a car with a stranger. He also insisted that when he had sex with them, he discovered that they were not virgins. He would then go back to apologizing, saying that he hopes they can find it in their hearts to forgive him because they all had so much harmony living together in that house. He was delusional, I think. The sentencing judge also heard from Michelle and family members of Amanda and Georgina. Michelle Knight told Ariel, "You took 11 years of my life away. I spent 11 years in hell. Now your hell is just beginning. I will overcome all that has happened, but you will face hell for eternity. I will live on, you will die a little every day as you think of the 11 years of atrocities that you inflicted on us. I can forgive you, but I will never forget." Michelle actually found it unbelievable that Ariel would go to church every Sunday and he would then go back home to torture them. A psychiatrist who testified at Ariel's sentencing hearing said that his victims will also have to live with his actions for the rest of their lives. Dr. Frank Ockberg said that the damage was done, it doesn't go away, and these were life sentences for them as well. Prosecutors used a detailed scale model of his house and slides to take the court through his house of horrors of hidden rooms, chains, motorcycle helmets for his victims, and a gun that he would use to threaten them. Ariel told his victims that he had other victims and that some of them made it home but others didn't. He once kept the 3 victims locked in a vehicle for 3 days whilst he had a visitor at his home. Ariel's Facebook showed him as a man passionate with motorcycles, a post on May the 2nd saying, "Miracles do happen. God is good." Ariel's son, when he wrote the article for Cleveland Plain Press about the disappearance of Gina in 2004, saying this is beyond comprehension, actually had no idea that Gina was being held in his father's house. Ariel Castro's daughter Emily was actually jailed in 2008 for 25 years for attempted murder of her baby. According to court documents in Fort Wayne, Indiana, she tried to cut her daughter's Janila's throat in April 2007. After Michelle Knight's rescue, police admitted that limited resources were spent on investigating her disappearance, partly because she was an adult. Authorities believed that she ran away of her own will because of the anger over losing custody of her son Joey. According to Cleveland Deputy Police Chief Ed Tomba, she was the focus of very few tips. Some criticized her removal from the National Crime Information Center database 15 months after she disappeared, which made her unknown before she was rescued. The Cleveland Division of Police and the Federal Bureau of Investigation maintain that her inclusion or exclusion had no bearing on her rescue. Ariel Castro was born on July the 10th, 1960 in Yauco, Puerto Rico. He was the son of Pedro Castro and Lillian Rodriguez. His parents divorced when he was a child and he moved to the US with his mother and his 3 biological siblings. First, they lived in Exton, Pennsylvania, before settling in Cleveland, Ohio, where his father and several other family members were living. Ariel had 9 siblings altogether, full siblings and half siblings. He graduated from Cleveland's Lincoln West High School in 1979. Ariel met his girlfriend Grimilda Figueroa when his family moved into a house across the street from hers in the 1980s. They both ended up living with both sets of their parents until they moved into their own home at 2207 Seymour Avenue, located in Cleveland's Tremont neighborhood in 1992. Their home was a two-story, 1,400 square foot, 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with a 760 square foot unfinished basement, built in 1890 and remodeled in 1956. According to Grimilda's sister, Elida Caraballo, she said that all hell broke loose when the couple moved into their new home. Ariel would beat Grimilda, breaking her nose, ribs and arms and causing a blood clot on her brain, which resulted in an inoperable tumor. He also threw her down a flight of stairs, cracking her skull. In 1993, Ariel Castro was arrested for domestic violence, but he was not indicted by a grand jury. In October 1996, Grimilda moved out of the house and she took custody of their 4 children. Police assisted in the move and detained Ariel, but they didn't press any charges. He continued to threaten and attack Grimilda after she left him, according to her sister. Grimilda eventually filed charges in 2005 in Cuyahoga County Domestic Relations Court, accusing him of inflicting multiple severe injuries on her and of frequently abducting their daughters. The court granted her a temporary restraining order against him, but he was dismissed a few months later. Grimilda Figueroa died in 2012 due to complications from her brain tumor. Before his arrest, Ariel Castro worked as a bus driver for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District until he was fired in November 2012 for bad judgment, including making an illegal U-turn with infants and toddlers on his bus, using his bus to go grocery shopping, leaving a child on the bus while he went for lunch at KFC, and leaving the bus unattended while he took a nap at home. He was earning $18.91 per hour when he was discharged. At the time of his arrest, Ariel's home was in foreclosure after 3 years of unpaid real estate taxes. Oh, by the way, the house where he lived and he held his victims captive was actually demolished on August the 7th, 2013. Michelle Knight was present and she handed out yellow balloons to spectators, which she said represented missing children. The balloons were released before Gina de Jesus' aunt began the demolition with a swing of a crane. The house has been completely blurred out on the street view of Google Maps. Some of Ariel's family members disowned Ariel and denounced his actions and apologized to the victims and to their families. In January 2014, Ariel's nephew, Jeremy J. Alicia, was arrested for and charged with 22 counts related to child pornography, including 21 counts of pandering sexually oriented matter involving a minor and 1 count of possessing a criminal tool. So yeah, I think that's about enough about him and his family. Let's see how the victims are doing today. Amanda Berry's life, after being freed, became focused around her daughter, who is now 16 years old. She said that she's really proud of how much her daughter has grown as a person. She's very caring and very kind. Amanda told people that normalcy was her priority when raising Jocelyn, and she said she supports her in everything she does, hoping that she has a great life and does everything that she wants to. Amanda tells her daughter all the time that everything she does is for her because she wants her daughter to have a good life. Amanda didn't have that luxury as a teenager because she was kidnapped when she was 16 years old. Amanda even threw her daughter a Sweet 16 party, which is something that Amanda always wanted for herself as well, but she never got. Amanda also has a loving boyfriend who she said she trusts, and it's actually Amanda's first real relationship. She also began hosting the Missing segment on Fox 8 after her escape, which highlights missing persons in Northeast Ohio. She still puts together the segment. I hope we can get the faces of missing people out there and get people looking at them a second time, a third time, and looking at their name, she told people in 2019. It's kind of a small thing that makes a big difference. She also said she wanted every missing person to know that someone was looking for them. She said that she got this idea because Ariel used to show her clips of people looking for her when she was held captive. Overall, Amanda is doing well, and even though she knows she will never have a normal life, she's doing the best she can and making the most of it. Gina De Jesus dedicates her life to helping others who are missing. She started working with the Northeast Ohio Amber Alert Committee and John Mayjoy, the Newburgh Heights police chief. She dedicated her career to helping survivors and their family members. She also founded the Cleveland Family Center for Missing Children and Adults, a non-profit designed to help families waiting for updates on missing loved ones. The idea for the organization came from the fact that her own family didn't have anything when she went missing at the age of 14. Her family didn't have anyone helping them make flyers and any stuff like that, so the organization actually helps other families with everything. In 2022, the center worked with 58 families. Gina's parents are on the board and they travel with her around the country to train police forces on best practices for dealing with families with missing children. 2 years after her escape, Gina wrote Hope, a memoir of survival in Cleveland with Amanda and journalists Mary Jordan and Kevin Sullivan. Now she lives with her family in the Cleveland suburbs and enjoys a quiet life. Michelle Knight, as soon as she escaped, changed her name to Lily Rose Lee, then wrote 2 memoirs titled Finding Me and Life After Darkness, which touched on her experiences. She also went on tours around the world as a public speaker, at the same time launching Lily's Ray of Hope, a foundation designed to help victims of domestic violence, human trafficking and child abuse. Michelle also found love marrying Miguel Rodriguez in 2016. She worried for a time that she would never find love because of her experiences. By then, everybody knew what happened, and believing that she was damaged by an old man, she feared no one would want her after that. Michelle eventually changed her focus to helping animals, fostering them, rescuing them, and raising money for organizations that also do the same. She launched Unleashed Animal Rescue, a non-profit organization dedicated to helping animals. The reason she did it is because animals helped her through the darkest points of her life, but she also had to watch Ariel subject them to starvation and torture. She says that ever since she was a little girl, she wanted to take care of animals because of her traumatic past and what she went through in the House of Horrors. She told people, quote, "I am standing up and being a voice for these precious animals. I found that when I was helping animals, in return animals were helping me." End of quote.
The nightmare first began in 2002 when 21-year-old Michelle Knight left the home of a family member on August 23rd. Michelle had been on her way to a case management meeting about the custody of her 2-year-old son Joey when she got lost. Trusting this man was the worst mistake of her life. Growing up, Michelle had a difficult home life where her family struggled to get by. Then at 18, Michelle became pregnant, allegedly as a result of an assault. Though she wanted to be the best mother possible for her son, Michelle eventually lost custody of him in 2002 after an incident reportedly involving her mother's boyfriend. She was on her way to a meeting, hoping to regain custody of Joey when then 42-year-old Ariel Castro pulled over to offer her a lift to the hearing. In the car, the two got to talking and Castro offered Michelle a puppy. Castro told her they could pick up the puppy from his house before they continued to the meeting. But there was no puppy.
And I feel like we finally covered the case with a happy ending. Although Amanda, Gina and Michelle went through hell and back, they took their horrible experiences and focused on doing good and helping other families and victims not go through what they went through. Even though their lives will never be the same, I think we can all agree on that. I hope that they will make the most of it and, just be happy. Oh, by the way, Ariel Castro died. He was actually found hanging in his cell at the Correctional Reception Center in Orient, Ohio, on the evening of September the 3rd, 2013, only 1 month into his life sentence. He was 53 years old when he killed himself. He was later cremated. But on October the 10th, 2013, the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction released a report which suggested that he may have actually died accidentally from erotic asphyxiation, which he did to himself rather than suicide. The medical examiner, though, rejected the possibility, standing by her ruling of suicide. The report also said that 2 prison guards falsified logs documenting their observation of Ariel hours before he was found dead. He was not on suicide watch at the time of his death, but he was subjected to routine checks every half an hour because of his notoriety. A consultant's report was released on December the 3rd and officially concluded that all available evidence pointed to suicide, including an arrangement of family pictures and the Bible in his cell, and an increasing tone of frustration in his prison journal, and the reality of spending the rest of his life in prison while subject to constant harassment. I do think as well that he killed himself because he couldn't face the fact that he's going to be in prison for the rest of his miserable life. And if I'm honest, I am sorry that he did it, because this way he didn't get to pay for what he did to Amanda, Gina and Michelle. And with this, guys, we got to the end of today's video. Please do let me know what do you think of this case in the comment section down below. For now, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!